welcome back from my point of view to senior fellow from the New Culture Forum, Philip Kiszely. Hello, Philip.
Hi, Kev. It's great to see you back.
Yeah, I followed your appearances while I was away. They were nowhere near as good as when you're with me. So let's get back to top form, shall we? Seriously, let's talk about Charlie Kirk. Obviously, you know, it's a tragedy. It's shocking. And you know, a distraught wife and two distraught little kids have lost their dad. I mean, it doesn't bear thinking about. As I said earlier, on the news angle, the Wall Street Journal is reporting that this shooter, obviously some kind of professional, hit him in the neck from 200 yards. Now, it's interesting that because Charlie Kirk was known to wear bulletproof vests on his public appearances, but of course the neck is exposed. 200 yards. The shooter was seen to leap from the building after the assassination and apparently disappeared into the local neighbourhood. In nearby woods, bullet cases have been found with pro-trans messages and anti-fascist messages. Make of that what you will. I mean, this is all circumstantial, if you like. Nothing is confirmed, but an interesting picture is emerging. But what I'd like to talk to you about is this, I think, has brought us to what may be a turning point. The left. Now, look, right-wingers don't necessarily, well, you and me included, we're not necessarily that nice about our rivals on the left, but we don't sort of compare them to Satan. We don't compare them to Adolf Hitler or the Nazis or the fascists. The Labour lot, the left-wing lot, do this as a matter of course, and it is a disgrace. Last night, we, on this show, we were the first to reveal that on the US, the American left-wing news channel, MSNBC, the commentator, Matthew Dowd, said this.
Especially divisive younger figures in this, who is constantly sort of pushing this sort of hate speech or sort of aimed at certain groups. And I always go back to hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful action.
Yeah, so what he's saying is that Charlie Kirk, because he's right-wing, right of centre, by the way, he's not an extremist. He's a traditional Republican who believes in family values, and he's a devout Christian. He is not far right. But Matthew Dowd, symptomatic of so many people on the left, because Charlie was right-wing, starts saying, oh, he's talked about him spewing awful words and awful thoughts. He had it coming. That's essentially what he said. Well, here's to MSNBC. You won't hear me say that often, but today they have fired him. Meanwhile, Philip, of course, yesterday, before the tragedy, in fairness, at the TUC conference in Brighton, that old veteran Labour MP, John McDonnell, former Shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, very left-wing, of course, he effectively compared, well, he didn't effectively, as a matter of fact, he compared Reform UK to the Nazis and effectively declared Nigel Farage to be the new Adolf Hitler. We've been calling for him to apologise today. No word, of course. But this is the rhetoric. It's arguable that this kind of careless rhetoric, it's childish, it's juvenile. Of course Reform UK aren't the new Nazis. Of course Nigel Farage isn't the new Adolf Hitler. It's childish, it's juvenile, but we're finding out more and more it's also dangerous. Arguably, it costs lives. John McDonnell should not only hold his head in shame, he should also apologise. I don't suppose he would. But we've got a problem here, haven't we, Philip?
We have, Kev, and there's so much here, isn't there? There's so much to unpack here. I mean, first of all, John McDonnell calling people Nazis. I mean, his reputation and his track record on anti-Semitism is just appalling. Him and his mate Corbyn. So let's just throw him out of the way first of all. But the problem is, they see us as evil because
because we don't agree with them.
We have different ideas to them. We see the world in a different way. They see us as evil. Now, don't forget, they are part of this, punch a Nazi kind of slogan that they used to use. So what they are doing and what he is doing there in an implicit encoded way is saying violence is okay towards these people. These people are subhuman. These people, you can just do anything you want to them. What we want to do is get rid of them. It's okay for these people to be slaughtered, to be butchered in front of their wives and children because they are evil. They are appalling. They are like Hitler. They are Nazis. So once you've got those kind of comparisons, you're actually beyond discussion. You're beyond the to and fro of I think this and you think that, and okay, well, let's come to some kind of compromise, or we'll just have to agree to differ. It becomes kind of messianic in a way. It's almost as though there is no other way out of this than total war, and it always comes from them, and their violence is always the same. Now, I'm just thinking about this shooter here, with all of this trans rhetoric on the cases. Now, we don't know precisely.
Yeah, you have to be slightly careful. It is circumstantial, but it seems fairly circumstantial. And also, it's the Wall Street Journal. This is not an irresponsible publication, obviously.
Yeah, it is circumstantial, but we can look back to what's happened recently, and it is fair enough to say that we do have a problem with men who dress up as women and want to shoot people. Okay, I think it's fair enough to say that. And we've known that for a long time. I think it's fair enough to say that the logical conclusion to this unhinged trans activism is murder, actually. So, and we have known that for a long time, and yet all of this stuff is threaded through our institutions. All of the people who will say, oh, well, he was for, gun rights, so he gets what he deserves, and that's going right across the internet at the moment. That's what everybody's saying. He's got particular ideas, so he deserves to be shot.
Yeah, basically. Well, listen, let me two things. First of all, for the audience, maybe you as well, Philip, I'm going to put up pictures that have been released of the latest person of interest. There he or she is going up the stairs towards the roof from where the shots were fired. Now, if you look at these pictures quite closely, I would suggest that the gender is doubtful. You can't quite work out whether that is a man or a woman. It could be a trans person, who knows? But it's certainly interesting. So, and for all we know, this is not a person of interest. It could be completely innocent. But this is the person that the FBI have released pictures of as the latest person of interest. Obviously, the police search continues intensely apace. Let me give you another example of this hatred from the left. As I say, I don't want to exonerate those of us on the right, as if we are angels and we never say terrible things about people on the left. But, I mean, I'm a real name caller to some of these people, but I don't call them Nazis and fascists and Satan and devils. I tend to call them idiots, so that kind of thing. I think idiots, foolish, stupid, incompetent, that's fair enough within the the hurly-burly of the political arena. But the devil, Nazi, Adolf Hitler, this is ridiculous. Have a listen to this. This is union activist councillor Fiona Wild. She's on Burnley Council. She describes herself as a defender of the NHS. She said this of Charlie Kirk. I do think he brought this on himself, so good riddance to not a very nice man. She has now had to resign. So you've got that guy Matthew Dowd on MSNBC in America. He's been fired for what he said. You've got this woman, Fiona Wild, has had to quit Burnley Council. I mean, at least perhaps some of these name callers on the left will begin to realise that this kind of rhetoric not only is beyond the pale, it can have serious consequences for them and, of course, the people that they insult. I don't predict that any of this rhetoric is going to end anytime soon. In fact, I'm going to show you another clip now. This is Democrat strategist Joy Cheney. She was on the BBC cackling about Charlie Kirk's murder. Have a look at this.
It is a really shocking moment, and I was thinking, I've never shared a Trump post in my life. I will contemplate sharing this one. But what I will say with a caveat, he wasn't admired and loved by all. So that's an exaggeration, but the truth is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Sorry, Matthew,
let me finish.
Go ahead.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you see, almost giggling. Look, I mean, I know I keep stressing this. This is a 31-year-old man, a young man in the prime of his life, a brilliant young man, actually. Whatever you think of his politics, he was a brilliant young man with a beautiful wife, Erica, and a 1-year-old son, I think, and a 3-year-old daughter. They watched this, they saw this, and there are people on the left going, good riddance, he deserved it. It's unbelievable.
I mean, I'm just trying to still get my head around it. When I saw it yesterday, you were on air at the time, but when the footage of the actual shooting, they're out straight away, and it was just appalling for so many reasons, all of the reasons you've just said. But these people are just ghouls. I mean, I remember when...
Ghouls, that's the word, they're ghouls, yeah.
Well, I remember when Margaret Thatcher died, and they were actually dancing in the streets. So this is nothing new as far as they're concerned. The left are just poisonous in this way. But really importantly, Kev, this happened on a university campus. It happened on a university campus in America. This could happen on a university campus in the UK because they are exactly the same. They are populated by these maniacs who have marched through the institution over the last 30 years. Now, I know this from one of the reasons I had such a visceral response to this, right, is because I'm 2 years away from working in universities full time, okay? I had a 25-year career in universities, and I had to leave because I was cancelled. I was pushed out because I talked about trans activism, because I talked about Islamism. There was a hate campaign against me of posters, my face saying Philip Kiszely Islamophobe. I know exactly what the latent violence is. The abuse, the bullying, all of that kind of stuff. I know it, and I just felt straight away, like I say, it was a visceral response, and I thought, my God, that's going to happen here. And it is because you do not agree with the indoctrination. You stand up and you try and think for yourself. And just to finish the point, Kev, what was this guy doing, right? All he was doing was going around to campuses and debating.
I mean, he was a great believer in, civilized debate, and that's what we on both sides of the Atlantic, around the world, we seem to have lost the ability to debate issues in a civilized manner, to be tolerant of those with whom we disagree. The left just completely intolerant. I mean, you were talking about the hatred you got because you dare to be, shall we say, right of centre. I mean, you can imagine someone like me, I get it all the time, on Twitter, to the extent it just becomes funny. But it does reveal something really sinister. And while I can laugh off the name calling, I'm sure you can to an extent, you look at Charlie Kirk, you look at over here, David Amos, Joe Cox, on the other side of the fence, and you see where this kind of rhetoric leads. I hope this is a turning point. I hope this is a reckoning for that kind of talk, but I very much doubt it, considering that so many people on the left actually revelled in what happened to this poor man yesterday at Utah Valley University. It is shocking. It is shocking, and it is wrong.